time sync.
They are in sync?
Yeah, they're in sync.
Rolling?
Is the digital thing recording?
Both. 4, 3.
I'm John, and tonight I want answers about municipal government. There's no stopping us now because we're live.
John wants answers. John wants answers. Give John answers. Give John answers. John wants answers. John wants answers. Give John answers now.
Check your calendar. If it says June 13th, 2013, then we're live. I'm honored to have our guest tonight. This is the mayor of Cupertino, Orrin Mahoney. Thanks for coming on, Orrin.
Good to be here.
What do we call you? Do we call you Your Honor, or Your Excellency, or Your Holiness, or Your Highness?
Actually, I prefer just Orrin. I'm only going to be mayor for 6 more months, so I don't want to get too used to it.
If you've never seen the show before, this is like a courtroom drama. I'm the prosecutor, my guest is the expert witness, and you in the audience are the jury, and it's your job to convict or acquit the topics. We'll be taking your tweets, so you can tweet us during the show with any questions for the mayor or the show in general. Tweet us at John Wants Answer. There's no S on the end because the S is for suck, and we don't. If you don't like Twitter, and I don't blame you, you can go to our website, johnwantsanswer.com, and click on the contact page, and you can send us a message through the internet that way, and we'll read it too. We have a Twitter contest. If you're the first person to tweet us and say you want a headshot, I will send you an autographed headshot of me and sign it, dear viewer, thanks for watching, John. If they want a headshot of you, can they ask for one of those?
We can do that, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if you want a headshot of the mayor and make him say, like, I forgive your parking ticket or something, tweet in and we'll send a headshot to you. This show cannot be made possible without the continued contributions of our executive producers, Lisa Tamaki and Brian Westphal, and without the generous contributions of the City of Cupertino,
Excellent.
who is a sponsor of KMVT. All right, let's get started. Our first case, John versus municipal government. The sound comes from somewhere, and we can't figure out where. Municipal government. That's like local government.
Local government.
So it's the lowest tier of all the governments, I guess.
Well, the sanitary district might be lower, but yes.
So we have local municipal government. Above that's county,
state, and federal.
Federal.
And there's all kinds of special districts. Like I said, there is a sanitary district, and there's a library district and a water district. But those are the basic key ones.
And so those districts aren't part of the city? They're
Nope,
separate?
No.
Oh, okay.
So there's a Santa Clara Valley Water District that covers all the communities because we wouldn't want to each be running our own flood control and water, for example.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you are mayor. Now, is that an elected position?
No, and that's why I was kidding around that I'm only going to be mayor for another 6 months. So the way it works for most of the smaller cities around here, there's a few exceptions, but most of the smaller cities have a city council. The council's elected. Cupertino has 5 people on it. And in most of the cities, we just rotate mayors. So you're mayor for a year. Usually everybody, it depends. In general, everybody gets a turn, but sometimes if you have a 4-year term and you were one of the people that got elected in the second cycle, you wouldn't be there. But pretty much everybody gets a turn to be mayor. So this is my second chance in Cupertino because I've been on the council for 8 years. And it's fun. It's mostly ceremonial. We don't have any extra power. We don't get any extra pay, no extra vote, and nobody works for us.
Well, then what's the point? So then how is the mayor different than a normal council member?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So first of all, the council is elected, and the council's, again, unlike, say, San Francisco or San Diego or Los Angeles, has a so-called strong mayor system where everybody in the city works for the mayor. All the departments roll up to the mayor. Most of the smaller cities around here, small and medium, Cupertino's 57,000, so it's not that small, but even Mountain View, which is quite a bit bigger, or Fremont have a city manager, and they're really like the CEO of the city, and all of the employees of the city work for the city manager.
Okay.
And the city manager works for the council. It's the only person we hire. There are two people we hire: a city council and a city attorney. And you don't want the city attorney working for the city manager because you want some parity there and check and balance.
Arm's length.
Arm's length.
Something. Yeah.
So think of us as a board of directors, and think of the city manager as a CEO. Although we drill down into some decisions that a normal board of directors wouldn't drill down into.
So a lot of the smaller cities around here have the same form.
Exactly.
Like Campbell, Palo Alto is about the same size.
Yep.
And they're the same system.
Yeah, they're actually a little bit bigger, but they have the same system. They have more council members, but they have the same thing. They rotate mayors, and some cities have decided to have mayors on for 2 years. There's pluses and minuses. One is, since the mayor represents the cities in other forums, like if the mayor wanted to go back to the National Council of Mayors, or if the mayor wanted to be on some other administrative forum that's just for mayors, where the cities get together. By rotating every year, you kind of lose a little of that connectivity. You've always got somebody new on there, and you don't have anybody that's got experience. So Sunnyvale, for example, I think was talking about, and they didn't do it. They were talking about going out for a vote to have a directly elected mayor, and that didn't pass.
So how long is the term of a council member?
Term in Cupertino, the term is 4 years, and we have term limits. I think it's self-imposed, so we have 2 term limits. So I'd normally be terming out this year.
Right.
Our council is stayed on odd year elections, so we would have normally had an election this November. But almost everybody else was moving to even year elections with the with the president, with the governor, and all of that. There were pluses and minuses of doing that, and almost every other organization was around us was doing that. The Foothill De Anza district did it, the sanitary district did it, and we in the school district were the last ones to stay odd year, so we just shifted.
Okay.
So that shift means we're going to get an extra year. So I'll actually be on for 9 years. So.
Congratulations.
But not mayor.
Is being mayor a full-time position?
No, the council position itself is not a full-time position. So as I say, there's staff that does most of the work. It can be time-consuming. We only have 2 meetings a month typically, but sometimes they run really late. And then you're briefing for the meetings. You're on a wide variety of other committees. I'm on the Valley Transit Authority Advisory Committee, the Water District. So you're kept busy with that. And then, especially as mayor, you want to be out there in the community, going to. I was there for a ribbon cutting for McDonald's reopening, and had my picture with Ronald McDonald. So we had, and there was another. My vice mayor was there, so we went.
You should put that picture on
we
Facebook.
Went, the three clowns were all there.
All right. What is the role then of the council members?
So, yeah. So let's go back. Yeah. So the council members, the role is to set the strategy for the city. So just this Tuesday night, we approved the budget. So that's probably one of the. If you look at the important things we do, one is set the budget. So by setting the budget, you're basically setting the priorities for the city from a strategic point of view. What capital projects are we going to do? How much are we going to spend on libraries? How much are we going to spend on public safety? How much are we going to spend on other activities? And we've been fortunate in Cupertino in that our finances have been, we've managed them well, and our finances have stayed good for a variety of reasons we can talk about lately. So we haven't had to do some of the belt tightening that other cities have had to do. But we did do a little bit a few years ago. So setting the budget is important. Hiring a city manager, which we did last year, is probably the second most important thing. And then we're involved in any kind of major land use decision. So the biggest one coming up for us, of course, is the Apple II campus. That's
right.
a major, it's be by far the biggest project that Cupertino's seen. But, if a shopping center wants to redevelop, if somebody wants to put in housing, if somebody wants to, any kind of land use decision will come through the Planning Commission first and then come up to us, and we're directly involved in that. So those are the key things.
So the Planning Commission is separate from the council?
Planning Commission is a separate body. They're appointed by the council. There are a number of commissions. In most cities, there's a Park and Recs Commission, there's a Planning Commission, and I was on the Planning Commission for 8 years back in the 90s. And the Planning Commission deals with the same issues the council does. And when they're operating well, and ours are typically operating well, the way I say it, they do all the heavy lifting for us. They'll really drill down into some of the details of the project, so that by the time it comes to us, it's a little bit more of a policy level decision.
Okay. Who else works for the municipal government? So you mentioned city manager and the attorney.
Yep.
And then how does that all?
Yeah. Well, let me go back to before I do that. So the mayor basically runs the meeting. I mean, so they're the chair of the meeting. Mm-hmm. Pluses and minuses of that. I always have to be last. I let everybody else speak first, then I get to weigh in. Sometimes the decision's made by the time it gets to me. I used to like it when I was first and could at least position things. And then the only other advantage, quote unquote, that the mayor has is if somebody wants to put something on a council agenda, it takes 2 council members to do that, or the mayor can do it themselves. And you know, so one of the things that's interesting at the municipal level, it's not true at the state level, is there's something called the Brown Act. The Brown Act was defined many years ago, and it's basically an open government act. So it really tells what we can, how we can do things, and what we can do. So we can't meet individually. I mean, we can't go off in a dark room or meet in the morning for breakfast and talk about things. Every decision we make has to be made in public.
So you and other council members can't socialize outside?
We can socialize, we just can't talk about
business.
2 of us can talk, but we can't talk enough, and you can't do it serially either to make, I can talk to you, you can talk to somebody else. So the decisions all have to be made in public. Agendas have to be posted ahead of time. We can't all of a sudden say, hey, I got an idea, let's talk about this, putting a new cell tower here, surprise, and the public wouldn't know.
Doesn't have a chance
to. So things have to be on the agenda, and that gets back to, so I can put something on the agenda where otherwise 2 council members do. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the rest of the organization, we have various departments. The biggest department, well, a couple things are interesting about Cupertino. We outsource a lot. Mm-hmm. So we do not have our own police department. We contract with Santa Clara County Sheriffs, and that works out really well.
I've called them a few times.
Yeah. And that's worked out well for us from a number of points of view. So we're very happy with that. The fire department is a separate Santa Clara County fire. We don't contract, but it's a separate district. We use the county library system, although we backfill with some extra hours there. So some of the things that are key that you'd say are kind of the biggest things of a municipal, I was listening to Mayor Kwan in Oakland this morning, the big issue there, the big issue in San Jose has been public safety and the police, and, keeping them at the right level and whatever. We have to make sure we do that, but it's as a contract basis and works out well. So Park and Recs is a big thing. They run a lot of programs, different kinds of community programs,
Is
activities.
Parks and Rec anything like the TV show?
No. Hopefully not. It can be funny, but no, I think it's a little more serious than that. And we've got a very strong Park and Recs program, both the parks themselves, but also all kinds of activities that we do for kids through adults. The senior center is part of that, and that's really strong. Community development, which is the group that's the whole building. And if you want to get something done, you have to go through community development to approve the plans. And what else are the other key things? Public affairs, all other things to make a government. And we run pretty lean. Our whole the number of employees for the city of Cupertino is about 150. Okay. Which is really small for a city our size.
So where does the city get all its revenue from?
Well, there's taxes.
Right.
Taxes and fees.
What kind of taxes? Is it like property tax or?
Property tax for Cupertino, and it's a little bit of an anomaly. There's 4 cities in the whole state that get really low property taxes. So we only get, of your property tax dollar, we only get 5 cents.
Oh,
so
wow,
it's really small. So we don't get a lot of property tax. I mean, we still get some because there's a fair amount of property tax, and a fair amount of property assessed value in Cupertino. Sales tax is a big one.
Do you get all of that, or does it count?
We
each
get
of the fees?
we get 1 penny of
When-
the 8 cents.
Right. Okay.
Whatever. 8
So it's
cents is.
1%.
Yeah, 1% of the dollar, and
Okay.
that's all. So we get 1% of that. And then there are fees. If somebody wants to do a development, they'll pay a fee. So anything that's where we're doing a direct service, we can charge a fee. If somebody's going to a class or something like that, we can charge a fee.
Okay.
We get some money from the state, although less and less as that's
Right.
gone on. But
Okay, we have to take a break now.
okay.
When we come back, we're going to take your tweets, since they're tweets, and we're going to hear more from Mayor Mahoney. So stick around. Okay, we're clear. So we can check and see if anyone has tweeted us.
Okay.
Have we gotten tweets? Oh wow, there's a whole. I see a whole pile of stuff here. It's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. So you're not being impeached, right? 6
No.
months is just your term is ending. Okay.
Well, we'll have a new mayor, and then I'll be on for another year. But our vice mayor typically will be the mayor. So Gilbert Wong will probably be the mayor next year.
Okay. Okay. Wow. There's someone's office is having a party, and they're watching my show for their office party. That's cool.
They need to have more fun than that. Not that this isn't fun.
Okay, so we have some questions coming up,
All right.
and we had some questions come in from people beforehand. Let's see if we've got.
Whenever you're ready, yeah.
I got that. Let's talk with that. Wow, we're just flying through this. Let's talk with that. Oh, I didn't ask that yet. Yeah, I don't know if we.
Well, we talked about that a little bit, but we can go whatever.
We did that.
Basically, all the employees work for the city manager.
I'm not sure if that's an interesting question or not.
No, charter city versus general law, not typically. No. I'm not sure I can
Oh,
explain.
this is
it.
interesting.
Fascinating discussion. We have a fascinating charter city versus general law discussion.
Yes.
I'm not sure there's enough time left in the hour, though.
Well, the only time that's ever come up lately is when we did. So Sunnyvale wants to change the even year elections, like we are. They have to put it to a vote because they're a charter city. We
Live in the set.
we can't put it to a vote.
We're coming back, I think.
4, 3.
And we're back, and we're going to take your tweets. So we have a few here, and so number one was I want a headshot. Disqualified. 2 reasons. Like 10 minutes before the show started, he tweeted this. You got to tweet during the show for the headshot. And this guy already got a headshot last episode, so he's not
Oh,
qualified.
so this is your headshot.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No one's asked for your headshot yet.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he'll still
maybe,
have it.
maybe. We're still got time.
Scott Canaster asks, will the environmental impact report on traffic affect Apple project? Now, I remember reading in the news this week, it said that the proposed new headquarters would generate significant unavoidable impacts, including excessive congestion along Interstate 280 and unacceptable traffic problems. Does unacceptable mean they can't have an Apple campus? Or will you accept
So-
it?
Okay, so let me talk. So the first thing I'm going to say is I can't comment on the environmental impact report because we're accepted what I'm going to say, which is it's big. Because we're in the comment period, and anything I say then has to be read into the record as an official thing, and et cetera, et cetera.
That'd be
et cetera.
awesome if you could
So-
read this into the record.
No, it will be. I mean, anything, yeah. So the environmental impact report did come out. It's about 660 pages. I have not read it yet, and I've got 45 days to read it along with everybody else. I took it to a lunch group that I had the other day just to show, look at this thing, and the guy said, there's a CD in the back, and I went, oh, that must be it. An electronic version of this. No, it's the technical appendices, which is another 3,000 pages.
Wow.
So this thing's 4,000 pages. So
And you're going to read every word, right?
I will read a lot of it, and then we'll get it all presented to us. And I'm counting on our planning commission to read it as well, and our staff. Our staff's been working on this project for several years, ever since Steve came into the council meeting and announced it. So
When I first heard of environmental impact reports, I thought in my mind it was about whether wood ducks would be displaced or whether more rain would happen, like the environment. But what kind of things do they actually look at in environmental reports?
They do look at everything. I mean, it literally, will there be dust that's created when they tear down the old buildings and build it? Traffic is certainly one of the things they look at. The project itself has a number of, a lot of trees that are there that are going to be taken out. They're going to be replaced by 3 times as many trees, and it'll be a much greener project overall. But everything in there gets studied, and basically the way I'll just talk about environmental impact report in general. I mean, you look at all the environmental impacts, and then you see which impacts can be mitigated. In other words, how can you do something to mitigate that? And then there's some that may end up being where you can't mitigate them, and then you can have a statement of overriding concern that says that in spite of this, I think it's overall a good thing. So it may have some really positive environmental impacts, a project that would just from a pure environmental point of view, forget about an economic point of view, from a pure environmental point of view, might have so many benefits that it would override some specific unmitigatable thing. So that's how it works.
Next, what's happening with Main Street Cupertino project? When will we see visible progress? I don't know what this is.
Okay, so Main Street is there's a big empty lot on Stevens Creek Boulevard that's had a series of projects proposed. The interesting thing there was one proposed when I first got on the council that we actually approved, and the residents of Cupertino, the voters actually, were so concerned about the amount of housing that was there that they put a referendum on the ballot and it got overturned. So, I mean, it was a really good case of the democratic process at work, where enough people were concerned about a certain thing. The interesting thing about that is the project that replaced it actually is a better project. So Main Street is a multi-use project. It's got some housing, it's got some office, it's got hotel, stores, and restaurants. It's moving ahead. I was just talking actually to the person today about that, and they're working with the city every day on getting their detailed plans for the infrastructure. It's a big empty lot right now, and so there's a bunch of basic infrastructure that has to happen, but no, they'll be breaking ground soon.
I've been surprised that lot's been vacant for so long in the heart of Cupertino.
Yep.
Next, John Wants Answer is streaming live in the office with lots of real audience. We have lots of real audience every episode. I'd love 2 photos, please. Well, this guy's getting a little greedy now. One of each. I'm being told this guy wants 1 of each. Well, no one else has asked, so I guess he'll get them. Nice to learn how Cupertino is operated as a city. That's positive feedback. Look at this. So, is the new Apple UFO campus actually going to happen, or is it just RSN? I'm not sure what RSN means.
Real soon now.
Oh. So how long do you think, ballpark figure, maybe you can't comment because you're mayor, but ballpark figure, when can they start knocking down old buildings and putting up new ones?
Well, we have on our agenda now, I just heard this today, October 1st, we will have a joint meeting between the Planning Commission and the City Council to review the environmental impact report and all the comments, because that'll be the end of the comment period. Then it'll go, through the Planning Commission, then it'll go through the City Council. The earliest we could make a decision would be late November, early December.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Okay.
And it stretched out a little bit from Apple's original plan as they went and kind of did some tuning on the project itself. So, but they're obviously eager to have it happen, and we'll see what happens through the process.
All right. Could you just leave 2 signed photos in your producer's box at KMVT and now I'll find them? Okay. John Wants Answers is fake. He is not reading live tweets. Well, who said this? Why would someone say that? Oh, I know who that is. That's a guy at work. I'm going to give him the what now when I see him tomorrow. We had a video of someone asking a question.
Okay.
So let's play that now.
Hi, Mayor Mahoney. I work in Cupertino, and I was wondering, We have to pay for bags in San Jose. Is that something that's going to be happening soon in the city of Cupertino?
Shopping bags,
Yep, that's what it looked like she was talking about.
right?
So I think most of the cities, so Cupertino has also adopted a ban on plastic bags.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, similar to the one in San Jose, and since part of Cupertino, where I shop, is in Los Altos as well, the shopping center contains both. I know that they're doing the Trader Joe's there. There's signs already that Los Altos is going to do it July 1st. We're going to do ours in October. So we were kind of, I personally didn't think it was a good thing, but we were, because of the water board and plastic bags going in the waste stream and stuff like that, we were kind of leveraged into that a little bit. And in the end, there were a lot of people that were in Cupertino for it. So, and I'm not there to personally decide what I like. I'm there to represent the residents of Cupertino. So I think we did it in a reasonable way, that a minimal impact to businesses, and it just seems to be the way everything's going anyway. So we just dealt with it.
Ron from Apple had a question he had for me. When will there be a pedestrian bridge over Deanza Boulevard? And he works at Apple, so I think he wants one at Mariani to cross over Deanza to get to Apple. Any?
Oh, he wants. Oh, I thought he was at the other campus, wanting to go to Outback Steakhouse, but
Are there any plans?
there probably will not be a pedestrian bridge there.
If a resident wants a bridge, what would they do to start bringing that up?
Yeah, they could. First of all, anybody can come to council. So the way the council meetings work, like I said earlier, everything has to be on the agenda for us to decide. But at the beginning of every council meeting, we have just open. Not open mic, public comment. Thank you. I was going to say open mic. Public comment,
that'd be hilarious.
where anybody can come in and give their 3 minutes of what they want. We can't deal with it at night, but if it's something that resonates with some of the council members, usually at the end of the meeting when we talk about council reports, we'll say, I think we should put that on a future agenda. So, if the mayor wanted to put it on the agenda, or if 2 council members want to put it on the agenda.
All right. Very famous video was one of Steve Jobs coming to the council meeting and presenting the idea of the new campus. And when I watched it, the impression I got was he was coming to the council and saying, "Nice city you have here. It'd be a real shame if Apple weren't to build a new campus in it." Is that kind of the feeling you guys got?
No, I mean, it's really interesting. I took a couple of things out of that, and since then, he looked. I got interviewed after that meeting on a couple of things, and people asked how I thought he looked, and I thought he looked frail was the term I used, and since then, if you read his biography, that was his last public appearance, and he was really, really ill. I mean, he was. It's actually there's a couple of things that are interesting in the day when time, people can work from anywhere and they don't have to all be together. It's amazing that companies still think it really is important for people to be together. Apple thinks it's important. Facebook thinks it's important. They're all building these big new campuses. And for Apple to do it in Cupertino, where it's an expensive place, to the land that they bought was expensive, and whatever, says, first of all, something about the people they want to attract and retain like to live there and like to be there. But also, I think it is the fact that they started there. I think there was a personal connection. Whoa.
Whoa. I'm being told that we're out of time. So
subtle.
I'd like to thank our guest, Mayor Orrin Mahoney, for coming on the show. Our next show is July 11th. And stay tuned for Stranger Music and What the Bleep. Maybe I'll be on that episode too. So thanks for coming on.
All right.
High five.